Hi, welcome to Chris Cook for YouTube. Today I'm going to be doing something that I grew up with. I grew up in Chicago, on the west side of Chicago, and it used to be a good place for us to eat, and a place that we loved to eat was Jewtown. And what Jewtown made was all kinds of Polish sausages, hot dogs, all kinds of sandwiches really, and pork chops. So Vienna is the product that we would normally use in Chicago, and where I am it's kind of hard to get that product. So while I will not be doing the hot dogs and the Polish sausages, I think that that's real easy for anybody to do. I am going to do our Jewtown style pork chop. Now here I have 3 pork chops. I have 2 center cut pork chops, which means they were actually cut from the center, because you see the T-bone that is in them, and the T-bone is actually in both of the pork chops. And you see 1 loin cut pork chop. This is cut from the end of the pork chop, but it doesn't, or from the end of the pork shoulder, but it really doesn't matter, because this you can still use for your center cut or for your Jewtown style pork chops. Both of them are going to be good. So what I'm going to do is sprinkle just a little salt and pepper on the pork chops. And it's regular salt and pepper. You know, normally I use cracked black pepper, but this recipe calls for just regular salt and regular pepper. So you do one side and then you do the other side. It's just your regular salt and your pepper. That's all you're going to put on it. You don't put any flour, or you don't add anything else that you would normally fry your pork chops in. You don't add that. The only thing that these pork chops have, and they're very, very tasty, is just the salt and the pepper. And on the bun you have some mustard and lots of onions. Just a little bit more salt. Okay. Now, before I go to the stove to show you how to fry these up, I want to show you the onions. If you look at the onions, that is cut. That's a thick slice of onion on both of them. I've already cut the others in half, but I just wanted to show you how thick the slice was. And the only thing you do is just take the slice and you cut it in half, and that's it. And that's all you need for this particular meal. So we're going to take these 2 items over to the stove, and we're going to get started. Now here I have some oil that is already heating up in my skillet, and it's only about a tablespoon of oil. And you can use cooking oil, or you can use fresh cooking oil. It really does not matter for this particular recipe. And you're going to pan fry the pork chop. As you can see, the skillet is hot. You're going to pan fry it. You do not want the pork chop to start to boil. So your grease has to be very hot when you drop it in, and it has to stay hot. Now, I'm going to allow these to cook for like about 5-7 minutes on one side, and then flip them on the other side before we actually add the onions to it. So when this finished cooking on one side and we get ready to flip it, we'll get back. Hi, it's been about 5 or 7 minutes, so we're going to flip this over to the other side so you can see how it looks. And you see you're just getting a little bit of the brown effect in it. Okay, these could stand to cook a little bit longer, but that's okay, because we'll just flip them back in a little while. This end has started to brown, and that has started to brown. You don't want a crusty outer coating on these pork chops. You just want it to kind of semi-brown, so you'll have brown spots. You'll have spots of brown, some here and some there and there. This does need to be a little bit more brown, so we'll just flip it and we'll get back when we get ready to drop the onion. These pork chops are ready, and this is exactly how they're supposed to look. So we're going to take the pork chops out. We're going to place them on a plate. And as you can see, there's still a little bit of fat left over inside of my pan. I'm going to take my onions, put them right in there. And I'm going to saute these onions down to caramelize, or a little bit above caramelize, and I'll get back to show you the finished product. Okay, I did cover it at the last like 5 minutes. As you can see, my onions have caramelized. They've gotten brown. And I told you that was just the way that we want it. And I did put the pork chops back in. Now, the little bit of, the way you see the bottom, you'll see just little bitty shades of burn and brown. That's okay. It does not matter. These pork chops came out good. Now what we have here is, we have 2 buns, and I'm going to show you exactly how to plate it. You put mustard on both sides of your bun. Then you take your pork chops, sit them down on your bun. Trying to get both of the pork chops here. Okay. Then you take some of your caramelized onions and you put them right on top of your pork chop. And you do the same thing with the other. Okay. Now, the more onions for this sandwich, actually, the better. Okay, the only other thing that we do, trying to get that little one back up. Okay, the only other thing that we do is we put some sport peppers, if you have it, and that's just a small pepper, down on the bun as well. And this is how we serve it. Of course we serve it like this, but this is the way I'm showing it. So I just want to show you how we do this. This is the way you have Jewtown pork chops when you're not in your hometown, which is Chicago. You can still do it. So thank you for watching tonight. This is all we have for you. Chris cooked for you too.